Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Tell you what, we got to get to some audio from the weekend. By the way, producer Matt, I don't know if you did that edit on the screen right now. It is unbelievable. We got to talk groomers, baby. That is right. So listen, for people who are a little new to the college football space, probably about 10 years, well, it was a little bit, but Jon Gruden. So Jon Gruden, remember, he won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Bucks, is out of coaching for a while. And it felt like every 3 or 4 years, basically whenever Tennessee's coaching job opened, there were rumors that Jon Gruden would be interested, that Jon Gruden would take the job. We called them groomers at the time, okay? Well, I bring it up because obviously a couple things have changed. One, Tennessee certainly has the right coach in Josh Heupel. Two, Jon Gruden went back to the NFL. Now, he ended up getting fired. I thought it was nonsense, whatever. We don't have to get into it, but we talked about it at the time. When there are 10,000 emails available and the only ones who get leaked are Jon Gruden, I think somebody was kind of out to get him. But Gruden kind of last couple years was kind of keeping a low profile, probably again because he's suing the NFL. But over the last year, he's gotten back into the media with Barstool and really, I think, done an excellent job. I mean, I always say, I think Gruden is actually a born content creator who used to coach football, not a football coach who creates content. I think the best thing that he does is create content. But I bring it up because in the midst of creating content, he has a YouTube channel with Barstool Sports in which he's doing a summer camp tour, basically, for lack of a better term. So he went to a bunch of NFL teams, Detroit Lions, etc. He also stopped by the Georgia Bulldogs the last couple days, okay? Bring it up because on Saturday, a video of his speech to the Georgia football team, this is a real video, surfaced. Here is Jon Gruden talking about what he'd like to do with the rest of his career. By the way, before we get to the video, Matt, should mention, there's some words that, impressionable ears should be careful listening. If you're with a child or somebody who's impressionable, just be warned. Jon Gruden talking like a real football coach. I'm pretty sure we bleeped it out anyway. Producer Matt, go ahead, give us the sound.
The only reason I really came here is I want to coach again. I'm being honest with you. I do not either. I want to coach again. I'd die to coach in the SEC. I would love it. I would love it.
That was Jon Gruden. I believe the direct quote, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm not going to swear. The only reason I came here is because I want to coach again. I'll be honest with you. I do not BS either. I want to coach again. I die to coach in the SEC. I would love it. I would effing love it. Okay. So I think the key quote there that everyone has caught on to, and you can see it on the screen as producer Matt has put, I die to coach in the SEC. I would effing love it. So, of course, when that audio made its rounds over the last couple days, everybody's wondering, is Jon Gruden actually going to come to the SEC? And is there any school that should be interested in him? Well, I bring it up because, in my opinion, there is absolutely, positively one school that I believe should make the call to Jon Gruden, a school that sort of has ties to him, definitely will probably almost certainly need a new head coach after this year. Yeah, I'm talking about the Arkansas Razorbacks. Hunter Yurachek, get on the phone. Call John Tyson, our friend here on the Aaron Torres pod. We love Tyson Chicken. They were very nice to reach out to us from the corporate headquarters over there. Let's get the Tyson people going. Let's get the Walmart people, and let's get Coach Gruden calling the Hogs. By the way, should mention, we do have our Torres on the Hogs account. Torres on the Hogs, all your late-breaking Arkansas news. If you are an intern interested in helping us with that, reach out to me, Aaron Torres Podcast Questions at gmail.com. Aaron Torres Podcast Questions at gmail.com. All right, so Gruden, Arkansas. Let's make the call. Let me explain why this makes sense. First of all, let me say this. Gruden is, if given the opportunity, he wants to coach. It's not a secret. I've heard Dave Portnoy, obviously, who is his boss at Barstool Sports, basically acknowledge, yeah, we know we're not going to have him forever. We're enjoying having him. We're putting him to work. We're putting him on all our shows, but we know that we are not going to have him forever. So I believe that he absolutely, positively, unquestionably wants to coach again. That to me is not debatable. And I'll be honest, I do kind of feel like the NFL maybe kind of passed him by. It's almost like a Bill Belichick thing, and we'll get to Belichick in a second because I think there's some parallels there. But it's like a Belichick thing where it's like, he feels like he's from a different era. It feels like it's kind of run its course. But could this guy step onto a college campus and absolutely invigorate a fan base? Yes, I absolutely believe that he could. And so the questions become, where would he coach? Where would he be willing to coach? And here's the bottom line. He said the SEC. Listen, he is, even if he can't get back to the NFL, a competitor. He's going to want to compete at the highest level. The SEC is it. And the SEC, let's be transparent, there aren't a lot of jobs that are even possibly going to open anytime soon. I would probably put Arkansas at the top of the list. Outside of Arkansas, it's funny, there's so much chatter about some of these jobs, but it's like Oklahoma, Brent Venables, this has to be the year. Brent Venables' buyout would be $35 million after this season if he were to be fired. Yeah, he's not getting fired. Mark Stoops has a massive buyout. Now, listen, I'm still of the belief, I think if Mark Stoops has another disastrous season, I know the famous quote at Kentucky is that, he's not giving up a dollar. I can't imagine him coming back to a place where he knows he's not wanted. So I would think Mark Stoops, that's a possibility, but he's got a huge buyout. Hugh Freeze has a $15 million buyout as well. I think, producer Matt, you might know this off the top of your head. I think Auburn is still paying a lot of money, or has at least, to Brian Harsin and Gus Malzahn. Now, both of them, ironically, are offensive coordinators now, but I just bring it up because they have spent a lot of money in buyout money. Producer Matt's all over it. Yes. He says Gus Malzahn's done. Brian Harsin's might be offset, of course, because he's got another head coaching job, but it's like, you got to pay $20 million to your player. The other thing with Auburn, really quick, this is a side tangent. I know everybody hates Hugh Freeze, but it's like his first recruiting class is only going into its sophomore year. And it's like, I don't know that you want to fire Hugh Freeze when Cam Coleman's about to be a junior next year, when all of their best players are going into their junior year, sophomore year, a year from now. So I don't think Hugh Freeze's seat is quite as hot. Now, you can't go 5-7 again this year. But if you fire Hugh Freeze, that whole roster is going into the portal, and there is some really talented players on that roster. So anyway, I think Hugh Freeze just get to a bowl game. I think he's staying. Arkansas is the one that I truly believe will open up, although I will say, and I know I'm going in a lot of different directions, we had Curtis Wilkerson from Inside Arkansas on the show on Thursday, and he said he could see if you get to a bowl game, Sam Pittman being retained for another year. So we'll see what happens. But with the Arkansas thing, to me, it just makes too much sense, because at the end of the day, with Pittman, listen, he hasn't been terrible, but and as a matter of fact, 3 bowl games in the last 4 years? He obviously had that 9-win season in 2021. And I think Arkansas fans are grateful for him taking over when he did and elevating the program back to respectability. But I also think that program's kind of hit a brick wall. I don't think it's going to get significantly better this year, especially with the schedule. And I talked to Curtis a little bit about this on the show the other day, is that I don't know what the identity of that program is, right? Like, say what you want about Hugh Freeze. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But Hugh Freeze is like, we're all in on high school. We'll supplement through the portal if we need a guy. But our bread is going to be buttered in high school. Billy Napier, the same thing. Obviously, whatever. You get the point. Everybody's got an identity. Ole Miss is the portal team. But it's like, I don't know what Arkansas's identity is. You don't need me to go through the roster with you, Arkansas fans, but I don't know what the identity is. Sometimes you're really good on offense. Sometimes you're really good on defense. Sometimes you lose guys in the portal. I don't know what the program's identity is, but more importantly, and you guys know this, there's no buzz with Sam Pittman. There's no excitement. And that's, to me, why you go get Jon Gruden if you can. Because think about the energy that Jon Gruden would bring to that campus, and think about the energy that he would bring to that program. The dude is a walking viral machine, like I said. And I just think like you talk about a program that could just use that buzz, use that energy, use that excitement, use that interest. Jon Gruden would create it. Can you imagine? Listen, all the great, people in the SEC, all the great personalities in the SEC, Jon Gruden walking into SEC media days a year from now. Yeah, that dude eclipsed Steve Sarkisian. That dude eclipsed Kirby Smart in terms of interest and the crowd around them. Yeah, I think Jon Gruden's probably got the biggest crowd, the most interest, and he creates so much interest in this program or in any program, but I'm just talking about this one specifically. Like, I was thinking about it. Remember the story, about 3-4 months ago, that HBO wanted to actually do Hard Knocks North Carolina football with Bill Belichick this year? Now, Bill Belichick's 23, 24-year-old girlfriend kiboshed that. You don't think they're going to be hitting up Gruden to do the same a year from now? And actually, that's where I think the parallel is. There's two parallels to me. One, I do think the first parallel is Bill Belichick. I think you could sit there and say, oh, Belichick, he's old, he's this, he's that. One, he has brought excitement to North Carolina. You cannot deny it. It is indisputable. Ticket sales have sold out. I don't know what the stat is for the first time in this many years or whatever, but there's all sorts of interest. He drew a huge crowd at ACC Media Days. I think North Carolina is going to be pretty good this year. I mean, the schedule kind of stinks. That's part of it, but I think North Carolina is going to be good. But the other parallel, you know what I think the actual other parallel is? It's when Arkansas hired John Calipari. Like, you go back to that moment in time. It's easy to forget now, but Eric Musselman leaves for USC as the basketball coach, and there's talk of, Bucky McMillan, Buzz Williams. I can't remember everybody. Will Wade. Hey, listen. I love Will Wade. Had him on the show many times. I love, Bucky McMillan. Sure, he's a great guy. But there was no one that would create the interest in your program quite like John Calipari. You have John Calipari. You are a national talking point every time you play and even when you don't. And it would absolutely be the same with Jon Gruden. A couple other thoughts. One, why Arkansas also makes sense. If you're worried about buyout money or whatever, guess what? If you're worried about buyout money, he ain't coming, you're not going to have to buy him out of a contract, whatever. Obviously, Sam Pittman's buyout changes based on how the schedule breaks. And then Arkansas fans, the ties to John Daly. As a matter of fact, it's kind of funny. I remember it must have been when we talked about Rhett Lashley a few weeks ago, when we talked Rhett Lashley, and somebody in the comments was like, forget Rhett Lashley. Jon Gruden is tight with John Daly. That's the guy that I want. And I kind of just rolled my eyes. Maybe the dudes or the chicks or whoever in the comment section know more than Torres does, because that caught my eye and I was thinking about it this weekend. So if you're Arkansas, man, just go get this done. By the way, I hate to say it. I actually meant to pull a few tweets for you, Matt. It's on me that I forgot. I think the number one concern for Arkansas fans isn't would Jon Gruden be interested, but could Hunter Yurachek close? Now, Hunter Yurachek, I've never met. Seems like a nice guy. I think there's still a little bad blood from the last coaching search where they thought they had Lane Kiffin, and then all of a sudden they didn't have Lane Kiffin. So I don't want to put any negative juju into the air, but Jon Gruden wants to coach in the SEC. I feel like this program has hit a wall, and I feel like you got to make that move. I'm excited thinking about it. First of all, I love this, the little graphic on the screen. It's great. Make the call, Hunter Yurachek. Make the call. What do I need to do to help? What do I need to do to get Jon Gruden in college football in Fayetteville? Do I need to make another return trip? What can I do to help you? And by the way, I'm not rooting against Sam Pittman. If Sam Pittman does, I just want to make that clear, because everyone's going to be like, oh, wow, way to just throw Sam Pittman under the bus. Listen, happy for Sam Pittman. He got his surgery this offseason. He seems like he's got a lot more energy than he has in a while. And if he has a good season, then he deserves to keep the job. The counter is at Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at LSU, at Texas. I don't know. So listen, I'm rooting for Sam Pittman to do enough to keep the job. But if he cannot, I'm just saying, could do a lot worse than Jon Gruden.